Hello students, in this video I will teach you about solvency ratios. Solvency ratios are used to check the long-term solvency position of the company, whether the company is able to meet its long-term liabilities or not, whether the company is able to pay the interest on long-term liabilities or not. So there are four ratios. Number one, debt equity ratio. Debt equity ratio. The formula of debt equity ratio is debts divided by equity, or you can say non-current liabilities divided by shareholder funds. Non-current liabilities divided by shareholder funds. So this ratio is the relationship between debts and equity. That means amount taken from outsiders and amount invested by owners. Second heading, non-current liabilities, and first heading, shareholder funds. Which are non-current liabilities? For example, long-term borrowings, debenture, bonds, public deposits, any loan except short-term loan. Long-term provisions are also included in long-term liabilities. Long-term provision, for example, provision for provident fund, provision for pension, provision for gratuity, or provision for any other employees' benefits. So these are some long-term liabilities. And shareholder funds, share capital, whether it is equity or whether it is preference share, reserve and surplus. All the reserves are included in reserve and surplus. So non-current liabilities divided by shareholder funds. Ideal ratio is 2:1. If it is more than 2:1, then we assume that our company is not able to meet its long-term liabilities on time. Next ratio is total assets to debt ratio. This ratio is used to know that how much amount which is invested in assets is taken from outsiders. The formula of total assets to debt ratio is total assets divided by non-current liabilities. Non-current liabilities. Total assets means the asset side total, and non-current liabilities are given. So total assets divided by non-current liabilities. Ideal ratio is 2:1, but it should be more than 2:1 always. Higher is good. Next is proprietary ratio. Proprietary ratio. This ratio is used to know that how much amount is taken from the shareholders, how much amount is invested by the owners in purchasing total assets. So formula is shareholder funds divided by total assets into 100. It is calculated in percentage. So shareholder funds, that means first heading of the balance sheet, share capital and reserve and surplus. Both items are included in shareholder funds. Divide by total assets into 100. Ideal ratio is 50%. It should be more than 50%, not less than 50%. Next, fourth, interest coverage ratio. Interest coverage ratio. This ratio is used to know whether the company is able to meet interest on long-term liabilities or not. Whether the company is able to pay interest on long-term liabilities or not. The formula: profit before interest and tax divided by fixed interest charged. Fixed interest charged. Ideal ratio is 7 or 8 times. It is calculated in times. So the ideal ratio is 7 or 8 times. That means to pay a 1 rupee interest, we must have a profit of rupees 7 or 8. If it is more than 7 or 8, that means company will be able to pay interest on long-term liabilities very easily. So these are 4 ratios which are used to check the solvency position of the company. Thank you.